Are you just starting SQL or need a quick refresher on the SQL syntax? In this video, we will walk through how to create tables, modify them, and manage data. Always clean, non-fluffy examples. No theory, just the exact SQL that you need to get things done. In this video, we will learn the basics of table and data management using SQL. Specifically, you will learn the commands related to table management and data management. Let's get started with table management first. And the first thing you need to know is how to create tables. Creating a table using SQL requires the help from the create table command. To demonstrate how it is used, let's think about creating the product table for the database supporting the online store named the Sci-Fi Collective. So as you can see here on the screen, the product entity has 4 different features, including name, description, price, and manufacturer. To create such a table, plus adding a primary key beyond these 4 different features, the command will look like this. To understand how this create table command works, we need to answer 2 questions at least. First, what is the general syntax for creating a table using SQL? Second, what do the different keywords do in this query example? What's the general syntax for creating a table? The general syntax looks like this. The command starts with create table keyword. Then it's going to be followed by the table name of your choice. In the round bracket, you need to define all the columns of the table. Each line will start with the column name, then followed by its corresponding data type. Lines are separated by commas. You also need to define the primary key of the table. You can define that using a separate line like this. The keyword primary key is going to be followed by the column name inside a round bracket. Or you can put the primary key keyword after a column which you want to use as a primary key. That's the general syntax. The example that we showed you a few moments ago followed the syntax strictly. Product is the table name. Primary key is followed by the column name product ID. These 2 things are required to create a table in general. In addition to that, you may also notice the different data types for each column. Product ID is a numeric column, integer actually. Name, description, and manufacturer are all string columns. Price is also numeric, it's a decimal column. Here we use decimal 52 to define that the price column will allow 5 digits in total and 2 digits to the right of the decimal point. In the future, when it comes to discussing the choice of appropriate data types for columns, we will go over the differences between integers and decimals. Last, you may also notice that all the columns except for product ID are declared not null. That means those columns don't accept null values. In SQL, a null value represents an unknown value, similar to when you are trying to remember someone's name and it's on the tip of your tongue, but the value either is missing or unknown. Allowing null values for columns may lead to SQL to have unexpected behaviors. For example, when you try to add 10 and a null value, you will end up with a null value. The sum of an unknown value and a 10 is still unknown. When you do calculations on null values, all the results may all end up as null. Then you may wonder whether the product ID column as the primary key column would allow null values, and why we didn't declare it as not null. The reason for that is this column, product ID, has already been declared as the primary key. This will make sure that the product ID column will not allow any null values. So there's no need to further declare this column as not null. Now you understand how to create tables. From time to time, you may need to alter the structure of a table, or even drop a table, because let's face it, sometimes you need to rearrange furniture in your data house. There are many ways to alter a table, such as adding a column, modifying the data type of a column, or renaming the entire table. You can rely on the help of the alter table command to perform all these tasks. The general syntax of altering a table is simple. It's simply the keyword alter table. Then it's going to be followed by the table name. After that, you need to specify what changes you want. For example, if you want to add an integer column to the product table representing serial number, you can do this. Alter table product add a serial number, then integer. This command, when being executed, will lead to changes like this. For another example, if you wanted to change the data type of the column serial number from integer to text, you will write it as alter table product alter column serial number text. However, it's worth noting that different database systems may vary in terms of what's allowed and what's not on altering tables. For example, SQL doesn't allow changing column data types. You have to delete the old column and add a new one to achieve what you want. You will need to check the manual of your target database system on this. Although you have many ways to alter a table, there is only one way to drop a table. You will use the help from the drop table command. The general syntax is simply drop table keyword, then followed by the table name. For example, if you want to drop the product table, the command will simply be drop table product. However, you need to be careful when using the drop table command because it will permanently delete the table and all its data. Now you learned everything you need to know about table management. Let's move to data management. We will start with how to add data to a table. When the product table is created in the database, it's ready for you to add data to it. To add data to a table, you need the help from the insert into command. The insert into command allows you to insert one or more rows of data into a table. Here's the basic syntax of adding data into a table. You will start with the insert into command. After that, it's going to be followed by the table name. Then, in the immediate round bracket, you can list all the column names. The value keyword is going to be followed by the values of different rows. Each row is encapsulated in a round bracket, and the rows are separated using commas. The order of the values in each row need to correspond to the order of the column names that you specify here in the first bracket. For example, you can insert a single row into the product table like this. Notice that the order of the values correspond to the column names. If you change the column name order, you also need to change the order of the values. For example, we can change the order of the product ID and description, like this. Then, the order of the values also need to be updated, like this. If you have more than one rows to add to a table, you will simply list them one after another and separate them using commas, like what you see here on the screen. This command adds 2 rows into the product table. Now you know how to add data, specifically rows of data, into tables. Let's move to discuss how to delete data in a table. The general syntax of deleting data in a table is as follows. Delete from command is going to be followed by the table name. After that, you need to specify a filtering condition. Essentially, this command will delete the rows that meet the given filtering condition from the table that you specified. An example of the delete command is as follows. Delete from product where product ID is equal to 2. This command will delete the row whose product ID is 2 from the product table. When deleting data from a table, you need to make sure to specify your filtering condition. Otherwise, the consequence can be serious. Without a filtering condition, the command delete from product will delete all the rows from the product table. In other words, all the data will be gone, even if the structure of the table is intact. That's everything about the delete command. Let's move to discuss how to update data in a table. This task requires the help from the update set command. The syntax of such a command is as follows. It will start with the update keyword, then it's going to be followed by the table name, then set. The set keyword is followed by the details of how you want data to be updated in the corresponding column. In the end, you need to specify a filtering condition. After all, this command aims at updating data of specific rows. An example of an update command is as follows. Update product, set price as 18, and name as not a toaster when product ID is equal to 2. This command will update both the price column and the name column in the rows whose product ID value is equal to 2. Same as the delete command, the filtering condition is very important here. Without a filtering condition, an update command will update the specified column in every rows. For example, the command that you see here on the screen will update the price to 18 and the name to not a toaster in every row in the product table. That's highly unlikely to be a case that you want. So the filtering condition is critical when it comes to deleting or updating data in a table. In this video, you'll learn the basics of table and data management, such as how to create, alter, or drop a table, insert, update, or delete data in a table when needed. This wasn't meant to be an exhaustive list of SQL commands, but it's an important step towards mastering database and a solid database design. If you find this video helpful, give it a thumb up, subscribe, and drop your questions in the comments. I would love to hear what's working for you and what needs to change. If you want to go deeper into database design, this video is based on the book Grokking Relational Database Design, which walks through these ideas step by step with real-world examples. You'll find the link to the book in the first comment.